Today, we're tackling an important topic, the 10 items where you absolutely shouldn't be wasting your hard-earned cash in your prepping endeavors. We all know how exciting it can be to stock up and feel like we're ready to handle anything. But let's face it, not all purchases are equal. Some items may look like they belong in your survival kit, but might actually just be draining your resources without offering real value when it counts the most. Picture this. You're in the middle of a power outage during a severe storm. Your basement is packed with bags of overpriced, trendy survival gear, but you're staring at them wondering why you invested in 15 different fire-starting gadgets instead of a reliable way to cook hot meals. Trust me, friends, you don't want to find yourself in a situation with 25 flashlights and no practical means to put food on your table for your loved ones when it really matters. In today's video, we're going to explore 10 common prepping pitfalls that could be taking a huge bite out of your budget while offering little in return for your actual survival needs. Now, before we jump into the list, let's reflect for a moment. Have you ever bought that must-have survival item only to discover it wasn't all it was cracked up to be? Maybe you found yourself with way too much of one thing, or realized that some trendy gadget didn't solve your real-world challenges. I've been there, and I can bet many of you have too. If you're a seasoned prepper, you might be nodding your head, and if you're just getting started, the insights in this video could be game-changing for constructing a practical and effective emergency preparedness plan. So here's what I need from you. What's the most regrettable prepping purchase you've made? We're not talking about complete junk, but those items you amassed thinking they'd be vital, only to find out that you could have spent your money more wisely. Drop your stories in the comments below. Sharing your experiences not only helps you reflect and refine your own plan, but it also provides invaluable advice to fellow preppers who might be struggling with the same decisions. Without further ado, let's dive into the list I've put together. These are the items that commonly trip up even the most diligent preppers. We'll analyze why these purchases might be unnecessary, and what alternatives could better serve your preparedness goals. So grab a notebook because you'll want to take some notes as we go through these 10 money-eating prepping mistakes. Ready? Let's get started. Let's discuss item number 10 on our list, unsuitable water filters. If you're new to the world of preparedness, or even if you're a seasoned prepper asking around about water filtration, it's inevitable that brands like LifeStraw and Sawyer Mini will pop up in conversation. Don't get us wrong, these are solid choices that excel in specific scenarios. They're affordable, typically priced around $20, and extremely convenient. Just toss one in your bag, and you've got a lightweight, compact tool that can effectively filter out some harmful microorganisms like Giardia and Cryptosporidium. This makes them fantastic for certain environments, particularly in high country, where these types of contaminants are more prevalent. However, and this is a big however, these basic filters aren't suitable for every situation. They fall short when it comes to removing chemicals, pesticides, and viruses, which can be an issue, especially if your water source is near urban areas or agricultural lands. Imagine relying on one of these when the only available water is from a park with pesticide runoff or a river running through an industrial area. Not exactly reassuring, right? This is why it's essential to assess your local environment and potential emergency scenarios carefully. You may need to look beyond these entry-level options. Consider investing in more versatile and robust filters like the Big Berkey or similar alternatives, esteemed for their ability to purge a broader spectrum of impurities. These might cost a bit more upfront, but when the stakes are high, the last thing you want to worry about is the efficacy of your gear. The takeaway here is to do thorough research and understand the specific challenges you might face when accessing clean water in an emergency. By diversifying your prepping toolkit with a range of water filtration options, you'll ensure you're not caught off guard, regardless of where you live or where your survival adventure may take you. While snagging a couple of those basic $20 filters is still a good idea for your go bag, don't make the mistake of over-relying on them as your one-stop solution for fresh water in every situation. Think of them as a component of a multi-layered water purification strategy. In the end, it's all about being smart with your resources and making sure every dollar you spend on prepping adds real value and versatility to your emergency plans. Number 9. Those enticing yet often disappointing pre-made bug-out bag kits. While they can seem like a quick and easy solution, these kits often fall short of providing the reliability you truly need in a survival situation. At first glance, the idea of purchasing a ready-to-go bug-out bag might seem perfect for those who are new to prepping or short on time. However, it's crucial to understand that many of these kits come with limitations. For instance, They often contain lower quality supplies that might not stand the test when you're genuinely in a pinch. A disaster or an SHTF, shit hits the fan situation is not the time to realize that the gear you're counting on isn't up to par. But wait, they aren't all bad news. If you're looking for a thoughtful gift for a fellow prepper or perhaps a starter kit for practice, these bags might just fit the bill. I confess I've even picked up a few myself simply because I like the bags they come in. Some feature great organization with well-labeled compartments, like the one from Surviveware, which makes it easy to customize them with higher-grade gear of your choosing. Nevertheless, most kits lack critical trauma supplies like cat tourniquets or quick clot, crucial tools that can make all the difference in a crisis. You're inevitably going to need to supplement these kits with additional life-saving equipment, which begs the question, is it worth purchasing a pre-made set only to replace half its contents? It's true that there are some decent pre-made options out there. They come at a higher price, but do offer better quality. Still, I'd urge you to look at these kits as examples or templates more than definitive solutions. They can provide insight into what should go into a well-thought-out bug-out bag. But with that template in hand, I strongly recommend assembling your own kit. Building a bug-out bag yourself not only ensures premium materials and equipment of your choosing, but also empowers you with indispensable knowledge. You'll develop a profound understanding of each item's function and necessity, honing your overall preparedness skills. Taking time to research and select gear for your bag means you won't be relying on an all-in-one solution that might not stand up under pressure. And let's be honest, when an emergency strikes, learning on the fly is the last thing you want to do. Point number 8 in our list focuses on the pitfalls of overspending on tactical and emergency gear. We've all seen the glossy adverts, the persuasive marketing, the allure of having the top-of-the-line equipment for preparedness. It's tempting to buy into the notion that only the very best will suffice when it comes to being prepared for any situation life might throw your way. But ask yourself, do you really need that ultra-high-end gear to feel secure and prepared? Let's take the example of a bug-out bag, a cornerstone in any prepper's toolkit. The market is flooded with options ranging in price from surprisingly affordable to astronomically expensive. But does a $300 bug-out bag truly offer anything more than a durable $100 backpack? Especially when you consider the journey it's most likely to travel. For many, this bag becomes a reliable companion, transitioning seamlessly between your daily commitments and the back of your vehicle. Always ready but rarely subjected to the rigorous adventures manufacturers want you to imagine. Starting with a solid mid-range bag is not only prudent, but allows you to direct funds towards other pressing areas without compromising your preparedness plan. Consider the essentials: food storage, home security, and even a decent water filtration system, all vital components of a comprehensive preparedness strategy. When we talk about being prepared, we're not just talking about owning the right items, we're talking about owning the right mindset. Tactical gear and expensive upgrades can overshadow the primary purpose of preparedness, which is practicality and peace of mind. It's imperative to strike a balance, to find where you can afford to save without cutting corners on quality. It's the perfect chance to flex your frugality muscles. Do your research, compare your options, and understand where the real gains are when it comes to preparedness spending. The focus here is not about skimping on quality, but recognizing where premium pricing may not equate to premium value. There's a world of reliable and budget-friendly alternatives designed to achieve the same goals without emptying your bank account. Seasoned preppers know that preparation is a journey rather than a destination, and gradually upgrading to top-tier gear is a natural progression rather than an imperative starting point. At number 7, canned food. At first glance, canned food seems like an obvious choice for your survival pantry. It's non-perishable, versatile, and readily available in most stores. However, buying too much canned food, especially varieties that you and your family don't enjoy or consume regularly, can quickly become a trap. Let's face it, stockpiling 50 cases of canned beans might make you feel invincible for the first month. However, unless beans are your all-time favorite, they're likely to languish at the back of your pantry. Although canned food has a long shelf life, often lasting well past the printed expiration date, there's no point in hoarding items that no one at home wants to eat. 5 years from now, you might find yourself facing a mountain of expired asparagus cans, and by then, they lose both nutritional value and taste. When it comes to long-term food storage, it's worth adopting a strategy similar to how a restaurant operates. By factoring in the quantities you and your family typically consume on a weekly or monthly basis, you can more accurately determine not only what to purchase, but also how much to store. For new preppers, there's a common pitfall of buying heaps of canned goods out of sheer enthusiasm, something I experienced myself. Those purchases can create a false sense of security. Yes, having a stockpile may seem prudent if an emergency strikes tomorrow. However, without careful inventory management and rotation, this approach often results in costly waste over time. I've been at this for over a decade, and through trial and error, I've learned that maintaining a balanced approach is key. It's not just enough to have a massive stash. It's about cultivating your supplies for actual consumption. Keep an inventory check, rotate your stock, and crucially, only buy what you'll genuinely use. Spoiling piles of canned goods you dislike is akin to throwing money away. And believe me, I've dumped more cans than I care to admit due to improper planning. Ultimately, canned food can play a valuable role in your preparedness arsenal, but it's essential to be smart about it. Consider your family's dietary preferences and consumption habits to avoid letting enthusiasm morph into wastage. So, keep an eye on your inventory, rotate diligently, and purchase with purpose. You'll not only save money but also ensure you're genuinely prepared for anything that might come your way. 6. Let's face it. Prepping can sometimes lead us down a path of accumulating a myriad of gadgets and tools, lured by the promise that they will make our survival plans foolproof. But here's the harsh reality. Not everything that glitters in those tactical catalogs is gold when it comes to readiness. The truth is, many of these items are just gimmicks, flashy but ultimately unnecessary for your preparedness strategy. In this quest, it's essential to separate the wheat from the chaff and focus on the essentials that truly make a difference. Consider your storage space. It's often limited, and with each new gadget, you collect potential clutter more than real value. Over time, these items pile up, leaving you overwhelmed and buried under a pile of equipment that doesn't actually enhance your preparedness. If you've ever found yourself in a pinch, scrambling to remember where you've stored some tiny, obscure gadget, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Instead of relying on these trinkets, get back to basics. Ensure you have your foundational items solidly sorted before contemplating more extravagant purchases. When we talk about prepping, remember the tried and true is what usually proves to be most reliable in actual emergency scenarios. The classics are dubbed so for a reason. They've stood the test of time. Imagine being in the midst of a crisis, reaching for a shiny new tool only to find it's little more than a fancy paperweight. That's not where you want to be. Let's bring in the 80-20 rule, a principle beloved by efficiency enthusiasts everywhere. For preparedness, it means focusing your energy and resources on that crucial 20% of actions that will yield 80% of the results. This approach is a sanity saver and a time saver. Prioritize what genuinely matters, the core elements that will have the most impact. I'm talking about essential supplies, critical skills, and vital training. These are the building blocks of a solid preparedness strategy, the foundational elements that you can rely on when it counts most. Resist the urge to stray into the realm of specialized, non-essential gear until you're absolutely sure your fundamental needs are well covered. It's like constructing a house. Ensure your foundation is rock solid before you start adding decorative frills. 5. Subscription boxes. Subscription boxes. The monthly surprise package that turns your ordinary day into a mini Christmas. Unwrapping these boxes can be thrilling, filled with hopes of discovering the next essential gadget or trinket for your prepping arsenal. However, the harsh reality often hits when you realize that most of the items in that snazzy box end up collecting dust rather than serving any practical purpose. Many of these subscription services claim to pack boxes with a retail value exceeding the price you pay, sometimes boasting a value of $120 or more while charging you $50 or $60. It sounds like a bargain until you break down the contents and assess what you genuinely need. Suppose the only useful thing you retrieve from that month's box is a flashlight or knife, perhaps worth only about $25. In that case, you aren't really gaining a deal but rather spending more than necessary for items you never asked for. Certainly, subscription boxes can make interesting gifts or provide an exciting novelty for a couple of months. They could serve as an introduction to new gear you might not have known about. However, when long-term prepping efficiency and utility are your goals, exactitude in what you invest in matters more than the thrill of surprises. Picture your garage or closet starting to look like a hoarder's, overrun with those items you've barely had the heart to give away or throw out. Now visualize the constant mental tally of space and waste as the boxes stack up, each filled with items that contribute nothing to your tailored preparedness plan. It becomes less of a fun adventure and more of a cluttered distraction. Rather than jumping onto the subscription box bandwagon as an inexperienced prepper, think strategically. Conduct some research and watch videos that offer essential prepping tips or reviews of helpful survival gear. Identify specific items that genuinely address your situational needs, and make thoughtful purchases without the added pressure of recurring costs or accumulating clutter. Number 4, having too much of one thing. We've all heard the saying, 2 is 1 and 1 is none. But when it comes to prepping, there is such a thing as overdoing it. Enter the world of redundancy, where having multiples of crucial items is wise. But let's face it, having 350 of any single thing might be pushing it a bit too far. Let's delve into why you should avoid this trap. First, you might be tempted to collect a bunch of, say, 30 different ferro rods. Are they important for starting fires? Absolutely. But do you need hundreds of them when a few reliable ones will do the trick? Probably not. The same goes for fellow blade enthusiasts out there. Perhaps you're like me, with a collection of 50 folding knives. Do you need that many to survive in the wilderness? Or are they just taking up space and money that could be directed elsewhere in your prepping efforts? The key lesson here is balance. It's perfectly fine to snag a great deal on crucial survival gear, but it's more essential to ensure that your prepping strategy is well-rounded. Don't pour resources into amassing one type of item until you've safeguarded yourself with other necessary supplies. This all goes back to the classic prepper motto. It's not just about quantity, it's about strategic variety and usability. Consider the pantry. Many prepper veterans have made the rookie mistake of buying hundreds of canned goods only to realize they rarely eat those foods. Worse yet, if they don't own a can opener, they may find themselves in a bit of a jam. Translation? Don't just stockpile supplies that make you feel secure in theory. Ensure you have the practical aspect nailed down. If you're not eating those cans now, will you really want to during an emergency? Similarly, in the preparedness game, there are countless methods to light a fire. I'd wager many of us have multiple different fire-starting gadgets scattered around. But let's be honest, even something as straightforward as a Bic lighter will get you flames 99% of the time. You don't need scores of them. Just a pocketful of half a dozen will suffice. Learning to master other primitive fire-starting techniques is beneficial, but investing heavily in an excess of supplies can cross into the territory of unnecessary clutter. Third item on our list, bartering supplies. Now don't get me wrong, bartering supplies have their place in the world of preparedness, but let's dive deeper into why you should proceed with caution before stocking up on these items. Firstly, it's crucial to understand that preparedness is all about ensuring you and your family's well-being. This means having enough essentials such as food, water, medical supplies, and a secure shelter plan before even considering bartering supplies. Think of it like building a house. You wouldn't decorate before laying a solid foundation, right? So, while bartering might seem exciting and a clever strategy to have in your back pocket, it shouldn't be a priority unless your other bases are securely covered. When it comes to bartering, it's important to focus on the smaller, more practical items. There's no need to rush out and buy 150 Bic lighters or stockpile purification tablets with bartering solely in mind. Instead, pay attention to the little extras you encounter in your daily life. If you spot an excellent deal on something that would be useful or valuable in a barter situation, and it's within your budget, by all means, grab a few extras. However, always remind yourself that these are supplemental to your core stockpile, not a replacement. I've even covered this topic in depth in one of my recent videos about the best bartering supplies. Items like small hygiene products, batteries, or even sewing kits can be useful, but be sure to focus on the essentials first. Remember, any prepping effort should put your immediate and long-term safety first. Let's get back to our main point. Don't let the fascination of bartering derail your primary mission, which is to have a secure, self-sufficient plan. It's all too easy to get sidetracked by the novelty of bartering products like flammable spirits or stacks of specialty items. But prioritizing these over your basic needs could prove disastrous in an actual emergency. As always, I advise you to ensure your household is well prepared with enough critical supplies to last over an extended period. Once you have achieved this and feel confident in your preparedness, you can then consider the potential value of having some bartering items on standby. 2. Don't skimp on quality for essential tools. When preparing your survival kit, one of the major things you should keep in mind is the quality of the tools you're investing in. It might be tempting to grab one of those multi-purpose folding shovels at a bargain price, boasting of various features like saws, picks, and even bottle openers. But imagine this. You're in the thick of a crisis. Dirt flying as you try to dig a trench or build a shelter. Suddenly, a critical hinge snaps, leaving your once mighty tool as nothing more than a decoration. This tool was meant to be a lifesaver, but without the durability, it turns into quite the opposite. Folding shovels and other compact, multitasking gadgets are indeed innovative and look cool in ads, but they are fraught with complexity, movements, hinges, and parts that can fail just at the moment you need them most. Compare this to a traditional shovel, a reliable piece of wood fused to a solid chunk of metal. Simple, sturdy, and unapologetically effective, this tool is created for hard work and has stood the test of time. Remember, in disaster scenarios, simplicity triumphs over flair. Your gear can't be gimmicky. It must be functional when every second counts. As you pack your survival bag, don't forget that your backpack itself is just as crucial as the tools it carries. Opt for a backpack that won't crumble under pressure. It doesn't need to break the bank with its cost, but it surely needs to withstand the rigors of emergency situations. Look for strong stitching, durable zippers, and reinforced straps. These aren't just features. They're the backbone of a trusty bag that needs to carry heavy supplies while keeping your hands free and your gear secure. Regarding water safety, this element is the most vital resource you have to sustain. Many companies promise the impossible with filtration systems that guarantee purity, but in reality, it's a buyer beware scenario. Visual purity doesn't equate to true safety. Invest in well-researched, reputable water filters. The unseen impurities in water are what can endanger your health, making it essential that your filtering system holds up under scrutiny. At the end of the day, prioritizing quality is crucial. The idea isn't to max out your credit card buying the costliest items. Instead, it's about being clever with your spending. Don't let low prices seduce you into stocking up on gear that's precariously constructed and untested. If you do happen to purchase cheaper gear, make it a priority to test it under less stressful conditions to gauge its performance. But make no mistake about it. When your life, or the lives of those you care about, hangs in the balance, quality becomes synonymous with reliability. Don't let poorly chosen tools be the weak link in your preparedness plan. Investing wisely now could make all the difference when you truly need it. 1. Disaster-specific supplies. Now, if you're just starting your journey in preparedness, it's easy to get caught up in the hype surrounding the latest gadgets and tools, like gas masks or iodine tablets. These items, often showcased in dramatic scenarios, might seem crucial. But before you rush to buy that $200 gas mask, let's take a step back. Think about it. How often are you realistically going to need such specialized gear? Prioritize the foundation of your preparedness plan instead. Start by securing the basics: food, water, shelter, first aid, and sanitation. These essentials form the backbone of a solid emergency plan and cover you for a wide range of potential situations. Remember, a gallon of water and a pantry full of nutritious food will go much further than a mask collecting dust on your shelf. It's crucial to have a well-rounded approach. Focus first on the everyday items that sustain life, because these are the things you'll rely on in numerous scenarios, not just one specific disaster. For example, food and water will be indispensable, whether you're facing a natural disaster, power outage, or economic crisis. Similarly, a reliable first aid kit and proper hygiene practices can prevent illnesses that could arise during any emergency. Once you've secured these foundational elements, then you can consider expanding to more specific supplies based on your personal risk assessments. Do you live near a power plant? Perhaps iodine tablets deserve a spot in your inventory. Otherwise, you might consider investing in power generation methods like solar chargers, which can be crucial in a blackout situation. Your goal should be to develop a comprehensive strategy that ensures survival and comfort in a broad range of scenarios. Avoid the temptation to blow your budget on high-cost, low-use items. Instead, ensure your core needs are met first. This is the secret to being truly prepared. By focusing on versatility rather than specificity, you'll find you're prepared for more situations than you might expect. And once you have these bases covered, you'll have more peace of mind to evaluate and personalize your plan further without breaking the bank. Keep this principle in mind as you continue to build and adjust your prepping plan. In conclusion, effective prepping is all about prioritization and practicality, rather than succumbing to the allure of flashy gadgets or doomsday scenarios. By focusing on versatile, essential supplies like food, water, and first aid, you'll be equipped to handle a variety of emergencies without overspending. Remember, the goal is to create a plan that balances short-term survival with long-term sustainability and comfort. Avoid wasting your resources on items with limited utility, and instead, ensure your preparedness strategy is flexible and comprehensive. By following these guidelines, you can confidently build a robust emergency plan that offers peace of mind and security for you and your loved ones.